I had to nuke all of my prior accounts and aliases. But my enemies don't know who I am now, so yay.
Should images of children having sex be protected under free speech laws? Yes or no?
Yes, drawings are drawings. It's also the reason why I don't put out my name, I don't put out my photo, I don't show my face. I was lucky in that I didn't go to jail.
Remember, kids, the difference between 17 and 18 is 20 years in prison.
Oh my god, stop. I can't do this shit. This motherfucker has zero grasp of irony. Like, holy shit. Before I go too deeply into who this guy even is, I must stress that it's very unlikely that many of you know this John Lee Baird, especially since he makes it a habit of hiding both behind an avatar and a persona, which under most circumstances is absolutely fine, but as you'll learn today, is very far from fine in this particular case. Anyways, who is John Lee Baird? He's a former high school teacher from Texas who took part in and or started multiple child reading programs, and was a small-time wannabe Logic Lord libertarian YouTuber whose most recent YouTube channel was named Return to Grasshopper, though he had others named Tyro Incuate, Tyra Moonhopper, and Moonifest Destiny. Some of you, however, might only know this guy because I debated him at least twice on the subject of Lolicon. He's obsessed with another YouTuber, by the way, named Aiden Paladin. And he is obsessed with Aiden Paladin in the same way at least somewhat normal people might be obsessed with Mia Khalifa or Scarlett Johansson. Sadly, however, his obsession with Aiden Paladin is by far his least fucked up obsession. Oh, and he's also way too obsessed with anime, like to the extreme of him constantly claiming that he almost exclusively only watches anime. On that note, it should also be pointed out he used to co-host an anime review channel that never quite got anywhere, called STC Watch Club, that basically nobody watched because it's exactly as cringe as it sounds. Oh yeah, and by the way, I almost forgot to mention this part, John Baird fucks kids. A little more than a year ago, I had a debate with Tyro on the subject of the sex offender registry. In that debate, I became increasingly more and more suspicious that he was in fact on said list. And then, later on, shortly thereafter, I had it confirmed, albeit through hearsay, that Tyro was in fact on the sex offender registry. Unfortunately, I didn't have a name, I didn't have any links to any articles or documents, I didn't have any of that. Because of that, I chose to say nothing, because what am I gonna do? Ruin some guy's anonymity entirely? Over what? Hearsay? I can't really do that. But ultimately, the story was that he was a teacher, he had sex with a student that went to his school at some party or gathering or some shit, and that it was an accident, that he didn't know. And you know what? That shit happens all the time, so I didn't really put a whole lot of thought into it. I just thought, well, that's unfortunate. Nobody really seemed to give that much of a fuck, so I don't know, why should I care? But then a little bit more than a year later, we learned that the story we were told was fabricated by Tyro himself. I learned that much of this story was bullshit, and that the only thing that was in common with the fabricated story and the real story was the fact he fucked a minor and that he was a teacher at the time. The rest could not have possibly been further from the truth. After the events of the second Lolicon debate I had with Tyro, several of my Discord mods became increasingly uncomfortable with his presence in my server. Ultimately, they collectively decided to ban him on 12/20/2022. Part of what sparked this was the very suspect thing he had said in the following clip.
Should images of children having sex be protected under free speech laws? Yes or no?
Drawings or photographs, because the two are different.
Drawings, paintings, sculptures, any form of artwork outside of things that use real children. Should I be allowed to make multiple cartoons of clearly defined children, no subtext, no interpretation? Should that be protected under free speech?
Yes, drawings are drawings.
Now that in of itself isn't all that terrible, it's extremely sussy, but otherwise not evidence of a whole lot. just enough to piss off almost every mod in my server. However, that and his schizophrenic reaction to me uploading a 20-minute clip of that debate seemed to be enough to violate the only rule I have in my server. All that combined at this point forced me to start making jokes about Tyro fapping it to Lolicon. Then that escalated to me joking about him being on the list, which, by the way, wasn't really the right thing to do on my part, but, you know, whatever. At that time, I didn't know what I know now. Despite these jokes, however, being said in private DM groups and in VCs, a member of my Discord, Garth, aka Miss Grandia, yeah, it's a pretty fucking cringe name, but whatever, he didn't really like that very much, alright? That's basically the moral to that story there. And he asked me if it was true. I told Garth that I had basically no proof other than hearsay and the word of others I trusted, and to ask his best pal, Lo-Fi, Tyro's ex, so that he could hear the same story that I had told to me that she confirmed over a year ago. A day or two later, things had spiraled completely out of control and fast, with the claim now being publicly stated by several people. Things quickly evolved into a call I would receive late Christmas evening, and I just realized that during this entire recording so far, my mic has been blowing the fuck up. And from this call, Christmas evening, I learned two very important things. Number one, that Lo-Fi had already researched Tyro on January of 2022. She sent that information to a couple other people, contrary to some claims that are being just thrown around out there. And the second important thing I learned is that Tyro's real name is John Lee Baird. And on 12/19/2014, he groomed a 14-year-old girl for an entire month on Facebook before eventually picking her up from school on a half day and a different school entirely from the one he was teaching at. Then he took her to his home for 6 hours and then proceeded to, I fixed it. I fixed the mic. How'd our friendly neighborhood pedo cricket fare in the courts? What were the results of his inevitable conviction? Did he serve 20 years? 5? Well, the answer is 0. That's right, not a single day in prison. None.
Hey, Patrick, what am I now?
Stupid?
No, I'm Texas.
What's the difference?
Our favorite pedo pal was charged with 8 separate crimes that consisted of 5 second-degree felonies and 3 third-degree felonies that read as follows: 2 counts of sexual assault with minor child, 3 counts of indecent sexual contact with minor child, 2 counts of indecent exposure with minor child, and 1 count of enticing a child with intent. Now, I could read to you the court papers and tell you all the reasons for each count, but it gets quite graphic, and I'm not entirely sure that YouTube would be okay with that. So you can either use your imagination or go to the link in the description and read all 48 pages in the PDF that I linked down below. Got all that? Good. Just gonna cut to the chase, however. His family is clearly wealthy, or had money stashed away somewhere, because after facing a 10-year minimum sentence, our buddy, Mr. Baird, somehow managed to get off almost completely scot-free. Out of all 8 charges, he managed to only be convicted of 1, indecent exposure with minor child. You know, the least bad one possible, which meant 10 years probation, put on the super special list, and spending literally 0 time in prison whatsoever. Yeah, I'm pretty pissed about it too, but how'd that happen, you might ask? It was his very first offense on record, and the courts tend to be very lenient to first-time offenders for whatever reason. His mommy was loaded, as I mentioned earlier, and he had a miracle worker of a lawyer who got him an absurdly good plea deal. Further proof that there is no real justice for anybody when you have enough cash to just throw around. The bigger question, however, is, has he reformed? Is John Baird a changed man? Well, simply put, no. He has violated his probation multiple times. He's been to anime conventions that he's not even allowed to attend, you know, because there's kids that gather there. Also, he's been online repeatedly and for years, which not only is he not supposed to be, but he's especially not supposed to be under an alias. which he has done both. Ever since his conviction, he has made multiple attempts over and over to weaponize an alias in order to entrench himself into communities, some of which do have minors in them.
I had to nuke all of my prior accounts and aliases, but my enemies don't know who I am now, so yay.
Oh, and just real quick, before I cut to the next chapter, I should also point out this lovely blog John Baird has been doing for like ever, and it's pretty cringe. However, one particular blog post is what I want to draw your attention to. You see, this post was on 12/19/2014, and it's gold. What's that post say? Well, it's a gem. That's literally the day he did the deed. You know, he violated the law, you know? The day he raped a kid. So now that we got all that boring shit out of the way, how did everybody react? That's the really good question. You see, I spammed this information at multiple people as soon as I got it because I thought it was very important that people know that there's a predator in our midst. So let's of course start with myself and my own reaction Christmas Day when Garth called me and I recorded it. Yes, I recorded it. I tried to record any conversation that has even a hint of drama. And you should too. Anyways, here's the clip.
Okay.
So how did some of the other people I told, both directly and indirectly, react? Well, let's find out. The first person I told was Kaz Warfox. How did he react? What the fuck? A completely normal reaction. Then a couple days later, he makes this community post. Yep, pretty based. Second person I told was Alistair. How'd he react? Asking basic questions? Good. Oh, and immediately makes a video. Based as fuck. Third person I immediately told was Spectre. How'd he react? Also asking basic questions, which is important. But of course, how did he do after? Well, he spread the word. And since Spectre told AP, how was AP's response? Goddamn right. Anyway, here's even more responses. And here's my personal favorite. But the big question on everyone's mind is, how did Aiden Paladin respond? Well, she actually gave me a statement just for this video. No, I'm not reading it. Pause the goddamn screen yourself and read it, you lazy fuck. But yeah, imagine being condemned instantly by your own e-celebrity crush. That's gotta be crushing. Fuck you, that was funny. If you recall earlier in this video, I mentioned that John Baird, aka Tyro, co-hosted an anime review channel called STC Watch Club. Well, that channel is also co-hosted and owned by Sparky of Sparky's Tech Corner. Someone you likely don't know, but at this point in the video, whether you know somebody or not, I guess isn't entirely relevant. Christmas night, I was typing random shit in Sparky's Christmas stream chat when Garth messages me asking if I wanted to VC. And at the time, Garth was quite upset that so many people were calling Tyro a pedophile in the wake of the lolicon debate I had with Tyro. And I didn't help matters by telling people the hearsay that I had heard a year or so prior. Garth was interested in finding the truth, and by the time I was asked to VC Christmas night, I was expecting us to have a screaming match or some shit. Instead, what he discovered was far, far more insane than what stories I was told. Ultimately, the evidence came in the form of 2 links, of which were immediately sent by my friend Slayer Raven to Sparky of Sparky's Tech Corner and STC Watch Club, etc. What followed was an almost immediate chat in my Discord. You see, like Tyro, I was someone Sparky called a friend as well, so I thought I was doing him a favor. So the question is, what did he do with that information? Which at the time was little more than simple news reports from 2015. Well, he did the only rational thing any person would ever do in that situation. He asked me where I got that information, which is great. You should always ask for more additional details when you receive shit like that, absolutely. And I of course told him that Garth got the information from Lo-Fi, and soon after, Garth immediately gave that info to me. So naturally, as a result of this questioning, Sparky came away from that thinking that he has to do the most rational and most intelligent thing any person could ever be expected to do. When informed that a child predator had been using him and his platform for entire years, Sparky immediately and without any hesitation banned Lo-Fi for doxing John Baird. You see, it's only pearl-clutching simpleton plebs that use gay shit like the fucking sex offender registry and news articles to spread awareness to online communities of child predators in their circles. You know, the exact thing that those tools are literally made to be used for. No, you fucking pleb, that's goddamn life ruination and doxing. What the fuck is wrong with you? How dare you, Lo-Fi, for trying to do a literal service to an online community of retards. What a selfish fucking bitch. Oh my fucking god, why did I fucking write this in the goddamn script? Holy shit, this is so fucking retarded. Who in the fuck is so fucking dumb that they decide it's a great fucking idea to ban the source of the information, revealing that there's a goddamn predator in our little community, instead of fucking banning the predator in question? Does that make any sense to anybody else? Does that make any fucking sense to me? I swear to fuck, I'm surrounded by fucking imbeciles, like everywhere. Like everybody around me is just fucking drooling all the way down their fucking You burying your head in the sand upon hearing the truth and then immediately banning the source doesn't magically unrape that 14-year-old girl. Anyways, I still had faith for some fucking reason that Sparky would come around, and I said nothing about him personally, publicly, believing that he still needed time to process this information, which is fair enough. On the evening of the next day, December 26th, I'm on stream with Slayer Raven, where in real time, we're given 2 official court documents. Sparky personally and immediately requested links to those documents almost as soon as they're mentioned on stream. I of course provided them. I also provided a link to the conversation I had with Garth Christmas Day in an attempt to further prove the legitimacy of the now already public claims. Then later that night, on the 26th, I was surprised to notice he was live streaming himself playing Pokemon. Even more surprising was the following statement.
Yeah, I'm only gonna say one thing in that whole situation. Fuck everyone in it.
Although a little frustrating, it was no biggie, so I didn't really say much. And it wasn't until later, on the 27th at midnight, over 6 hours after I sent those court documents, and 2 days after Slayer Raven sent him the initial local media reports that we sent out initially to people, that it first really started to click when I saw he made a now deleted and much anticipated channel announcement. What was that announcement, you're asking? Oh, it was of course the most rational and reasonable announcement about how he's got new content in the future with him and Tyro, and for people to not pull out their tiki torches, and how he's just going to straight up bury his head in the sand and ignore any and all drama relating to the new reveal that Tyro was in fact a child predator. You see, after giving someone all that information and the expectation of some sort of public response, you'd think, oh, they read all that information and came to an informed decision. I don't believe that that's entirely an unreasonable assumption. I simply responded how any normal person would. I banned him, meaning Sparky, from my server and left his. Why would I want to be associated with someone who is seemingly okay with hanging out with a child predator? He now claims, and this is a bit hearsay however, that the announcement he later deleted was actually pre-recorded before all that was revealed. And honestly, that is complete bullshit. But of course, we'll never know for an absolute certainty because he deleted it. Besides, when I called him out on that announcement, he never said anything about that and only appears to be saying that now. Pretty convenient after you fucking deleted it. In response that same day to what was clearly blatant pedo shielding, I was upset and I lost all faith in Sparky. I banned him from my server, as I said, and made a public-ish, I guess, announcement for why I banned him. Also around this time, on the 27th of December, everyone is talking about it, and is royally upset with Sparky, adding even more pressure. And I'm sorry, I can't control that. It was your fucking announcement. But finally, that day, Sparky wants me to call him. Again.
I'm still wrapping my mind around the whole fucking thing. I haven't had a chance to fucking sit down and look through the entire goddamn... I haven't finished your fucking video yet. I got home and I was fucking drained. I gotta get up in the morning at fucking 6 still. And I should have been in bed at like 11. And I just want to get my fucking mind off of it. I have not had a proper chance to fucking process it because I had to fucking go to sleep because I had to walk in the morning. I don't know about you guys or anyone else. I do have a fucking full-time job. I'm sorry if I haven't came up to the fucking conclusions you have. I'm sorry if I haven't disseminated all the fucking facts and articles and the fucking court records and everything that you guys have. I'm not that fucking autistic.
You didn't have time? You had 2 fucking days. Even though I understand you had been working, when you came home, what did you choose to do after receiving all that information? You chose to play Pokemon on a live stream for almost 3 fucking hours, instead of looking at any of the information that I provided. Information that you requested. Despite this, I'm absurdly calm. And at this point, even still, he requests time.
What am I supposed to do?
Okay, so I'm not telling you what to do.
You're not.
I'm only telling you what I would do. And I'm showing you what I would do. Okay? Like, you can clearly see what I would do. I'm not telling you to do what I'm doing. And by the way, if it makes you feel better, I deleted the post. And I wrote another one. And I wrote, Sparky contests shielding/protecting, and we're working out the details of the situation. Stay tuned. So
my work schedule and everything I've got.
Thing is, I
give me a
will
couple days.
Remember, I am watching someone I thought was my friend fucking roast himself on a hill for a fucking predator at this point, which is frustrating because he had all the fucking time. Okay? He had 48 fucking hours. So anyways, I agree to delete the post and to give him the time he needs despite my better judgment, acknowledging that I may have overreacted, though admittedly still frustrated he made that announcement despite reading absolutely nothing whatsoever. I'm not being unreasonable. This is the first goddamn page of the 48-page document that takes like no time to read at all. It paints the picture pretty goddamn clearly. However, in a sudden and stunning move, like 12 hours later, late evening the same day on the 27th of December, Sparky comes out with the big news that he banned Mr. Baird from his server for, quote, being a dumbass. Awesome. He finally read it and made a logical and informed decision that he'll be sticking to, right? Well, no. That was a lie. Like, are you kidding me? He told everybody that he banned him when he didn't. He lied. Why would you make that kind of lie? Why would you say that? Lo-Fi tells Garth. Garth tells me. And I tell everybody in our tiny little irrelevant circle the truth about the pedo cricket. Lo-Fi gets fucking insta-banned. Johnny Boy gets revealed as a fucking child predator and is allowed to leave? How does that make any sense? But you know what, guys? Apparently, the only thing worse than grooming, abducting, and raping a minor is clearly telling everybody about it. But if all that wasn't bad enough, allow me to make it a little bit worse by machine gunning a whole bunch of points that may or may not explain why it is that Sparky did the worst fucking job possible handling this situation. Point number 1, he knew that Baird was on probation and tried to help him get jobs.
And no, it's not 2036, 2026 because of good behavior and stuff. Because of good behavior and stuff like that, he is up for getting it revoked in 3 fucking years. I know because I've been trying to help him get a fucking job.
Number 2, he told Baird to not debate me on Lolicon because he feared that people would discover his past, Baird's past, and that was also his number one bitch to Baird, as Sparky puts it. Number 3, Sparky has continued to claim that he is only upset that Tyro lied to him about specific details relating to his probation. Those specific details relating to the probation are, of course, Tyro's inability to legally utilize aliases on the internet. Complaint 4, Tyro maintains that they are still friends in a final message to Aiden Paladin 3 days after Sparky let him walk. You may be asking, of course, the very natural question of how the fuck I know it's Sparky. Well, the reason I know he's talking about Sparky is because I don't think it's a crazy coincidence that whenever Tyro is talking about being swatted in this message, that he's referring to the only person that I ever told that Kiwi Farms people were focusing on this situation. And since Kiwi Farms has a reputation of enabling and or advocating the idea of swatting, it stands to reason that what Tyro is talking about in this situation, in this message, is Sparky. On January 1st, 2023, Sparky hosted a lovely live stream that opened most interestingly with the most hilariously tone-deaf song possible. A song by the lovely Gary Glitter. Why is that song tone deaf, you might be asking? Well, because Mr. Gary Glitter over there is a bit of a naughty boy himself. After that, however, the shit just rolls downhill pretty fucking fast. However, before I respond to the few moments of the stream that I wish to respond to, I need to point out that all the following statements made by Rogue, his lead mod, were approved explicitly and verbally by Sparky before Rogue even started throwing the shade I'm going to be showing you here.
We've got a lot of shit to talk about. Actually, I'm gonna just go ahead and turn it over to you because I know you have spent way more time in this than Gamergate. So
oh fuck yes. So Rob
you
is
go ahead.
So as you can tell, the bullshit cop-out excuse of, he said those things, not me, has no relevance here. If anything, it's far more likely that Rogue is actually speaking Sparky's thoughts and feelings on the matter that they're discussing, which frankly is a bit cowardly, but anyways, here's the first of a short list of very insane claims.
The Sparkery from the other side of the camp wanted your head for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because they really wanted to gargle their nuts with your mouth. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to see your head on a pike for whatever reason. Not too sure. But
idea. It is.
They demanded blood for some reason, for whatever blood god that they believed in, and legally speaking, they don't have the rights to propose that to you. So,
yeah.
No, I did not in fact want Sparky's head. I thought Sparky was my friend, and as such, I thought that me giving him that information, the information that he has been working with a child predator for entire years, was important. The reality is that the only time I ever got upset with Sparky was whenever he made that announcement, that initial one, 2 days after he was informed of all of the prior mentioned shit I have mentioned in this video. And frankly, it came off as blatant predator shielding. It is clear he didn't intend to be rid of Baird until the heat was on. That said, the following is a few clips I stitched together of Rogue and Sparky both just straight up saying I and others should have just not told them anything. Just not a goddamn thing. I shouldn't have said a word.
whatever Tyro did, that's between the lawyers or the law enforcement and him. And cut and dry, what you should do is you report and don't talk about it afterwards. After you're done. So if they don't like that, they can sit on a nice giant elephant-sized dildo and spin on it.
Yeah, doing a lot of ramrodding in public is only going to hurt this. So my suggestion to everyone doing this whole thing, I understand you have your own thoughts and process to this, but if you want any kind of justice, it needs to stop.
Yeah. I have no ill will against a lot of people. I may come off like I do, but again, I don't hate, I just state. If you don't like those statements, then you should have never have got yourself involved, and you should never be talking back or whatever. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that got themselves involved with this bullshit when they should have been very fucking quiet and did their due diligence and reported it to the proper authorities. But no, they decided to make a melodrama out of this, causing more mess than anything. And if he did something fucking wrong, no one's going to listen to y'all because y'all fucked up.
I think that it's also worth pointing out how Rogue heavily implies that he doesn't care about what Tyro did in 2014. Interesting, ain't it? But we'll get back to that in a moment. Also, real quick, I need to point out how much of a dumb shit take it actually is to sit there and say, oh no, don't use the sex offender registry and court documents that are publicly available information to be like, oh look, there's a predator over there. Bully him out of the community. Don't gatekeep your communities using publicly available tools that are manufactured for the sole purpose of ensuring that predators don't infect communities both on and offline. Right? It doesn't make any fucking sense. That's like saying if I press the record button on my phone, the text feature will never work ever again. How in the fuck is using those tools for the exact reason that they're made for gonna somehow compromise you making a report to a fucking probation officer? Like, holy shit, are you fucking retarded? Wait, why am I even asking that? Of course you are! But anyways, in this other clip that I'm about to show you here, he claims Sparky just had no time.
I found it kind of a disrespect going forward if a person like Vlad was like, well, I gave you all the information, you should believe me. No. That's not how that works. Sorry. I mean, you can spurg all you want to be upset with Sparky as much as you want to, but, oh, I'm doing it to defend him. No, you're not. If you were, you would have let him to have time. Oh, that's bullshit. He had all the time in the world because I gave him the information. No, that's not how that works.
Yeah, fuck that shit. He had all the time.
Trust of the information is true, but we have to verify it to make sure it is true. We don't listen and believe, like some people out there that want us to do. It is trust but verify. If you go by their history, you got all that information by Christmas. Okay, so what are you supposed to do? Make a decision on Christmas? You've got family shit you got to deal with. You've got other things that you need to do. You want to rest and relax. It's a holiday. You're not going to kind of go spend all quality time to try to make a rational decision for someone who means nothing to you. Yeah.
Number one, don't use buzz phrases if you don't know what they fucking mean. If I wanted Sparky to simply listen and believe, I wouldn't have sent him any documents whatsoever. The phrase, listen and believe, suggests I told him some hearsay and just expected him to believe me. Sparky was sent 4 documents, so fuck off with that gay shit. Number 2, this all came out on Christmas evening while Sparky was fucking live streaming. He wasn't hanging out with family. He wasn't having sex with a poodle. Sparky knows this isn't fucking true, and he says absolutely fucking nothing. Furthermore, I never expected him to do anything beyond read and come to an informed decision, as I've said probably like 80 billion times throughout this video. And also, look at this amazing clip.
I hate to agree with a certain phrase that a certain annoying cricket uses. Demon rats. There was a lot of demon rats out there that tried to fuck him over. And I agree. There was a lot of demon rats that tried to fuck him over.
He is either referring to me and the other people that have talked about this, in which case you're goddamn right. I fucked him over. He's a fucking child predator, and people deserve to know that. That's what the sex offender registry is for. He could also be referring to the government. And if that's the case, just wow. That is some hardcore, like, fucking weapons-grade copium, dude. Like, that is insane. However, like most things, it only gets worse from here. There is a few little Freudian slips along the way.
I don't really like Tyro. I tolerate him. I tolerate his existence. The only reason I tolerate his existence is because he's a friend of yours, Sparky. And ergo, I'm going to be very professional about the entire situation. And unfortunately, because of the continuously pressing of the witch hunt, you're going to have to separate yourself from him.
Note, literally 0% of what was said in those clips are at all past tense. Oh, so unfortunate. You have to separate yourself from him. Sparky is barely holding it together, trying desperately to preserve what little good optics he has left in this fucking shit show of a live stream. Like, holy fuck. That smile just told everything. Quite telling there, buddy. Anyway, here's the final clip.
Now you're giving people who don't matter a beans to information to
Our honorable mention must go to Merc Ment, because at the end of the day, if it wasn't bad enough that Lo-Fi got the big fat ban out of a server she didn't particularly care about for merely doing what any normal person would usually do, we have Merc Ment here trying desperately to dox her. Like, come on, dude, do you really honestly believe that a Texas fucking probation office would give 2 fucks about a Danish person that dated Tyro like 2 years ago? Are you kidding me? What the fuck? In conclusion, John Lee Baird, aka Tyro, is a child predator who apparently has friends dumb enough to protect him and continue to speak with him, despite the fact he is, in fact, a child predator. And yet somehow, I don't find it entirely surprising that people within the anime fandom continue to suppress and minimize the amount of perverts that exist within their communities. Kinda like the people I mentioned in this video, like those people. It is evident to me, through their actions and unnecessary attacks on my character, that they knew his past very well and were merely upset that myself and others had figured it out. You try to do people favors, but to some, you'll always be the bad guy. Well, so be it, I say. You want me to be the bad guy? I'll be your bad guy. And so, at their expense, let us sit back and enjoy the memes.
Certain somebody told me that another certain I'm trying not to use fucking names. That another certain somebody that I'm close to might know things that like might maybe sort of place them on a list, but I disavow anything until I know something concrete or somebody that I trust 100% tells me.
Vlad is the certain someone who might have figured it out by talking to other people. Vlad said he basically figured out that was the case. To me and everyone else. Vlad, aka Gilded Poo. There we go.
A million fucking grifting fucktards wanted to ride your dick all the way to the fucking Hall of Fame. Hi-ho Silver, we're here to hunt some pedos. The minute they learned that some guy they didn't like was automatically a fucking pedo child predator, now suddenly they all just became fucking Chris Hansen's and they wanted to fucking hunt the guy down. And I'm over here like deep-throating a million dudes.